fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class Blurr from the Transformers Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 collection from Hasbro. So this line is exclusive to Walmart stores, but it's also kind of a shared exclusive with Hasbro Pulse, which is where I got mine quite a while ago. But this is the kind of IDW iteration of Blurr, at least that's what they're going for here, especially with the head sculpt. Packaging-wise, it is packaged in vehicle mode, as they all are for the Velocitron Speedia 500 collection. And you have the plastic-free packaging here where you can see the figure inside held in with the twine. Really nice artwork of Blurr in robot mode here on the front, kind of wrapping around to the side. And some nice artwork of him in vehicle mode up top. Up here, we just have a product shot of the vehicle mode. Not really too much going on the bottom. And then over here, we have a close-up again of Blurr in robot mode, spinning around to the back to some product shots of the robot mode and the vehicle mode. So pretty standard packaging for this line, but I think it looks really great. I love the colors they use for it. Gonna go ahead and get him out of the box and we'll take a closer look. So here he is out of the packaging, and while he's still blue, it's definitely a softer color palette, not the usual bright blues that we're used to. I kind of like it. I think it looks pretty cool. You can see that there's a lot of extensive retooling done here. He's got these wheels that have been molded in. They do not move at all. They are completely solid and stationary. And then you can see the whole front section here has been very greatly retooled. A little bit going on here as well. I will bring in, this is Studio Series 86 Blurr, which is, I believe, what this is molded after, because you can tell they still have the feet on the bottom there, which is different from the Titan's Return Blurr, which was the original source for this mold. It's been through a couple iterations. It's been kicking for, what, 5 years now at this point? Pretty close to. But yeah, so you can see, like I said, the wheels are obviously different. This section's different. Really, all of the arms, with the exception of maybe this kind of midsection piece, that might be the same, but all the shoulder piece, what will be the shoulders, are all different. Up top, I would say that's pretty much all the same, starting like at the window to the back. I think that's all the same. And then underneath, it looks to be pretty similar. Let me zoom out a bit here so you can actually see these next to each other. But you can see these sections here are different. So, should be pretty cool. I feel like they're definitely the same mold, but there's enough different that they don't necessarily seem like the exact same vehicle. The wheels being molded in and not even coming close to touching the ground, I think, is a little weird. And I don't know that he ever looked like this in the cartoon. I'm sorry, the comics. But it's an interesting vehicle mode. It's definitely very interesting. I kind of wish the wheels rolled and touched the ground, but I guess they figured if they're not going to touch the ground, there's no point to make them roll. Now, he does come with two accessories. So he's got this blaster here, and then he's got the kind of like, you know, repair torch. And I believe these are the exact same accessories that came with Studio Series 86 Blurr. Yeah, that gun appears to be the exact same thing, just molded in a different color. And then I actually have the torch stored underneath here, but that is the same as well. So same accessories as Studio Series 86 Blurr. Now you should be able to, I believe you're supposed to put this under here like so, but you're also supposed to attach the gun. So first what you would do is attach the gun like this, and then put this over top like that. Which kind of looks ridiculous, just having the handle stick straight out to the side there. I mean, it's okay, but just kind of looks a little goofy to me, so I'm just going to take these off and put them off to the side. And we will go ahead and get into transformation. So if you've transformed Studio Series 86 Blurr, it's exactly the same. We're going to start by grabbing what will become the arms and pulling them away from the body, like so. Pop them out to the side. Then we can take the feet underneath and unpeg these from what will become kind of the shoulders. So unpeg these. That will allow you to flip these pieces up and peg them into the sides, like so. Then we can open up. We'll bring these up and out of the way. Then we can open up these sections here, which will flip open like so. and that will allow the legs to flip around. They will then come apart like so. The fin will rotate to the inside of the leg, and then we can come around and close these back up, and then flip down the toes / bottom of the feet like so. Then we are going to fold in the seat like that, bring the arms up, straighten these out, rotate these around, and then these will kind of click up and into place. So bring that up like so. Let me zoom out here a little bit. Then we're going to take this section here and lift this up, bring this back around, and then this will kind of just peg in here into the back. And I don't know if there's actually a clip. I don't think there is. There we go, just kind of frictions in there. Then we rotate, I guess actually you can lift this up, rotate the fist around 180 degrees, and then this is supposed to come up and peg into the back of the forearm. It does, but it's not super secure, so I don't think it's going to constantly stay there, but it does do that. So there we go. Now we have our, oops, I'm sorry, one last step is to just flip this section here 180 degrees. So there we go. We have Blurr in robot mode. So I think he looks pretty good. I think the robot mode's fairly clean. I really don't mind this kibble here. I feel like that's something that, because it's much smaller than the one for Studio Series 86 Blurr, it kind of fits nice and flush against the back there. I still really don't care for these giant pieces just pegged into the back of the forearms. They're really just in the way. I almost wish you could just take those off. I wish you could just put them somewhere off to the side. But for the most part, I think he looks pretty good. Like I said, I really do like the color scheme. I think that works. The shoulders are definitely much chunkier than Studio Series 86 Blurr. And I really like the head sculpt. I think they did a nice job with that. Nice paint for the face there. He's got kind of a goofy expression on his face, but I kind of like it. And it's definitely a very different design from the classic Studio Series 86 Blurr. And then he's got the Autobot symbol here inside the window as opposed to down here. Let me just bring in Studio Series 86 Blurr so you can really see the differences. So the legs are the same, just painted differently. You can see that pretty much the whole torso and everything. There is some remolding here on the crotch. It's the same basic shape, but this is built up a little bit more than over here. And like I said, you can see that the shoulders are definitely much chunkier, and you still have those pieces on the back of the forearm, but these are even bigger now. But then when you take a look at the piece on the back, I feel like this fits much better than this. This one hangs down really low. It's not a big deal because it kind of comes to like where the torso waist area would normally end, but I just think this looks better just kind of tucked closer to the back. I think that looks a little better there. So it's kind of a trade-off. Better on the back, but longer forearm pieces. So it's a bit of a trade-off. You can see just how different those head sculpts are. It almost kind of reminds me of like Topspin and Twin Twist, where they're like obviously the same mold, but they're different enough, and they're both kind of the same color, but different color palettes. It's kind of funny. So definitely both Blurr, but two very different looks. You could almost pretend that they're different characters. And this guy's growing on me. I kind of like the softer color palette. I still like Blurr's color palette as well, but I do kind of like this more muted look. Kind of neat. So like I said, he does have those two accessories, so if you want, you can take this like torch piece or whatever this is supposed to be, and you can peg that into the hand so it looks like his hand's kind of transformed into that. And then you can put the weapon in the other hand, and you can use them in either hand, it doesn't matter. So that looks pretty good. We'll go over basic articulation, but it's going to be the exact same as the Studio Series version. So head can swivel from side to side. You have a little bit of up and down, and maybe the tiniest little bit of side to side, but it's mostly just turning side to side. You have a hinge, kind of two hinges. So you have the hinge here, and then you have a hinge here where you can see that this pin is. So this hinge goes there, Then you have a little bit of movement at this pin here. And then, of course, you have the rotation all the way around. You have the bicep swivel. You have 90 degrees there in the elbow. But again, you have this giant piece. And if you want to move the wrist, unfortunately, this piece is tied to the wrist, and it can only go in one direction. So you can't bring this back this way, because this, where the pin is, hits into this piece. So you can only go around this way. So you can't turn the wrist the other way, unfortunately, because this giant piece is attached to that. You do have a waist swivel here. You can kick pretty far forward, pretty far back, pretty far out to the side. So really nice hip movement. You got a thigh swivel there, 90 degrees there in the knee, and then you got ankle tilt. So he's a pretty cool looking figure. I mean, yes, at this point, you know, how many of this mold do we have if we go all the way back to Titan's Return? I think I have the Titan's Return Blur. I think I have the Legends Blur, because that was a much better color scheme. I think I have it as RC, Studio Series. This one, there is the... Oh, man, I can never remember her name. Is it Nautica? I think it's Nautica. So I have at least 6 of these. I mean, this mold has seen some use. But surprisingly, the joints aren't super loose. Like this knee, a little bit, but not too bad. For as many times as they've used this mold, I feel like it's still pretty solid, and it's still a pretty good looking mold. And they've done a considerable amount of remolding here. And I think he's pretty cool. At first, I wasn't really going to bother, because I just thought to myself, I really don't need another Blur. It's been so many at this point. But yeah, he's worth a look. He's definitely different enough, and I really do like the color scheme. So I think he's worth checking out, especially if you can find him on a sale at this point. I think this first wave of Velocitron Speedia 500 stuff at Walmart's is starting to get clearanced out. So if you could get this guy for, you know, 10, 15 bucks, something like that, I think it would totally be worth it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.